Okay, so what do you want to know? Greg, you go first. You never go first. You always lay back.
Appreciate that. Thank you. You said you may tell us, I get a feeling maybe you won't, what the quarterback plan was for this week.
I wouldn't want to disappoint you. Yeah, we got it worked out. We're figuring out playtime right now, and Drew needs to play a lot of football, because he missed a game. So that's the main thing that I get done on this weekend.
Does he play with the starters, maybe more than the last preseason?
You have to wait and see.
Physically, do you feel like he's back to normal?
I'd like to see again today. He made it through yesterday. Did not show a sign of it, but he did a nice job getting through it. So I'd like to see him make sure that he's back and bounced. He did fine yesterday. He didn't let anybody know, but he was working to get through it. So we'll see how much better he is today. But he's going to get all the work that we can give him, and we're not holding anything back.
Gino has had the majority of reps, vast majority throughout camp. Is there anything Drew can do to pass him between now and the end of camp?
That's not true that he's had the vast majority of reps. It looks like that because the guy missed the game, okay? Then that's why that comes out. But in practice, we've evened these things out as best we can. So that's been part of the design. So whereas it might look like that and appear to that, and everybody's worried about that's happening, we're in pretty good shape in that regard. But this game is really important because it's kind of a makeup deal. So I'm going to make sure and take care of business on that.
Tackling has been one of the issues for you guys in both preseason games. How hard is that to address in camp? These aren't the old school 2 days where you just get hit forever.
Yeah, it's the same as it's been for some time now. It's been pretty much the same way for numbers of years, and so we do what we do. You got to look at how we're missing the tackles, who's missing them, and all that kind of stuff to really assess it, to understand what's going on. Our guys, remember a couple years ago. We didn't play a preseason game, and nothing was different around the league. You couldn't tell, that anything happened to the negative in terms of technique and stuff like that. You couldn't tell, So the guys that don't tackle now don't get a chance to. The guys that are protected a little bit, they'll be all right.
Special teams wise, was there anything this week, any emphasis or focus? Just
yeah, it's about covering the kicks. We got to leverage the kicks better with the young guys, and that's owning the responsibility of feeling the space and doing a nice job with it and coming through for your group. That's we've had a few breakdowns there. There's a common theme, and it's real young.
Is that just in case the guys instead of doing their responsibility, they see a play to be made and they want to go?
There's an enormous responsibility about who you're next to and where you are in the field and where the ball's kicked, and can you sense where where the returner is and all that. I mean, with our guy Turpin this week, he's everybody's wide awake now. He woke you up if nothing else did with a great game last week. So we're on it. We're working it really hard.
To clarify on the other question earlier, is there something Drew can do to catch Gino in this last time?
Yeah, I'm wide open for whatever happens. Gino's been the guy in the lead position the whole time, and I've protected that thought with throughout, and he's done a really nice job. He's been very consistent. So we'll just see what happens, and there's 2 more weeks of practice too after this. So where the timeline, I had a set thought on what we would do with the timeline, but that got disrupted, and so we're going to use all the time we need.
Would you ever consider playing 2 quarterbacks at once, or is it?
That can happen. Yeah, that can happen.
Have you ever done that? Not really. Not with the same sense. These guys are so even right now that that we have a lot of respect for both their play, and so. But I'm not thinking that way right now. I'm thinking of getting going and getting started, ready to roll, and all of that. And Gino's in the mentality, has been in that mentality the whole time, and that was very much by design.
In regards to Drew, what do you look from the Bill Hunt? What maybe you saw in that Pittsburgh game to this game?
He played really well. His rhythm was good. I go back to the Lumen game too, because that's the other one that we were using for an evaluation. That he was very quick with the football, and I'd like to continue to see that happen. When it comes right down to it, we missed something right at the end and gave the ball up. Just like to see him finish the game, and finish, making the plays that he's capable of making. He's shown a lot of really good stuff now, and I think he had 2 out of 3 drives or something like that they scored, coming out against those guys. But it's just we're in a different setup now, because of the last week's game. So.
We talked earlier this week about shifting reps in practice for everybody, right? The guys that we're going to get starting time. What have you seen from those guys if we're not going to see a lot of maybe a DK or a Tyler or some of those other guys?
Well, It feels different at practice when the reps are going to the guys that are that do most of the playing. We've been working hard to develop a lot of guys throughout the camp and see where they fit and see where the competition fits. But there's an evaluation we have to do with who's going to play and how much they're going to play. So how much more work do they need in practice to cover and all that. That's what's happening. I'm 1 day old in this week. Okay, so we'll see how the week goes. The day goes today, but it was fun to see those guys getting all the stuff and the ball coming their way and the plays that we count on them making and things like that. Were really by design structured and scripted in practice. So we'll continue to work that way.
Do you anticipate seeing them on Friday? On the field?
There's a really good chance I'll see these guys.
Do you anticipate LJ Collier playing on Friday?
Not yet. I can't tell you yes on that one yet. I want to see what happens today. He got through the work yesterday. Let's wait and see. I don't know that.
You talked about DK becoming more of a leader. What have you seen, maybe in terms of the extra work he's done with Sanjay after practice during camp?
I think he's gonna lead by his work ethic and his performance that follows that. I'm not asking him to make any speeches or anything. I don't ask guys to do that. It depends on who the people are and all. DK is a leader he is such a phenomenal competitor and worker. That's how he sets the tone, and he did it again yesterday or 2 days ago. He had a great practice and was battling all over the place, and you can't help but elevate and just try to hang with the guy, So I think he's got marvelous leadership qualities but they're going to come out in his way, and he's a great worker.
You've had such established guys for a long time who would use their voice in that way. Do you know yet who the guys are in this locker room?
There's no doubt. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Who are they?
It's Quandre and Jamal and Al and Jordan Brooks, who's younger but he has really stepped up. Cody, Nick Ballore, Disley. Tyler and DK, all those guys. Those guys are all the guys. Those are the guys that have. They just have the awareness, and they're the guys that people listen to. And it's not hard to see that.
On the left side now, is Michael Jackson caught up to Sydney? Is that pretty much even now?
He's played well. I'm really anxious for him to get another shot at it, to do it again. He's like, I think I might have said, he's been one of the surprises to really step to the front, not just to be a good ball player, but to really step up and make plays and make things happen, and very aggressively as well. So there's a good chance we see Artie this week, which we're really excited to see that. And Johnny Reed will play this week too. So those guys are good guys coming back. They have not really had work for it seems like months, but it's been a couple weeks, I guess. They're coming out.
Is Sydney ready to get back into it?
Not yet.
Did you use Rashad much this week, or we used Penny this much this week?
Penny Hart?
Rashad Penny.
Not necessarily. Today is, what day is today? This is Tuesday, right? And we play on Saturday, Friday. So he might not make it.
Coming off injury, how have you felt about
I'm pretty grounded on what days of the week here. Right?
Coming off injury, how have you felt about the performance of Marquise Blair, showing the rust in your mind?
Yeah, he's played like he has in the past. He's playing tough. He's knocked a couple balls loose. He missed some tackles that he needs to make, but he's reminded us of why we like how physical he is and how he goes after the guys, and he's done that.
How has Charles responded these past 2 days in practice?
He is not a kid that's going to get wavered. He's very solid, grounded well, pretty quiet. Doesn't say a whole lot. But I think he's in good shape. But really, I kidded, that once he realized who he played against last week, I think it helped a little bit. He didn't know, so nobody told him, and he didn't know until after the game. That helped him.
How did
Yes.
the Esker?
You talked about leadership. How have you seen the new guys coming, Jenna and Shelby Harris, kind of assert themselves?
Yeah, differently. They're not the same. They're just guys that have come from other clubs. Chenna has really been rock solid. I should have mentioned him. That he is a leader as well by the way he does things and the way he takes to his business, and he's really serious about his work. And so and whenever the guys have played 8 or 9 years or 7 or 8 years, not for Chenna but for Shell, guys listen to him, and so they have something to say. So we give them opportunities to speak out. This is a really different dynamic of leadership than we've had, but it's always been constant. I mean, we've always had a lot of guys that had something to say and to contribute. And I've always called on a lot of guys. I'm not always called on just one guy or the other guy. That's not how you may think that's the way it is, but that's not the way we've done it ever. So this is not much different. But when the guys come in with a new perspective, though, guys want to hear from them, you know. So Chenna has been very impressive.
With Ken Walker, are you still expecting him back by the opener?
Yeah, you know, I don't even know how to call that. Really, I don't know how to call what's going to happen because this is such an unusual circumstance that he has. He's really tough. He's making big progress every day. You know, he just feels more comfortable. I think he sneezed the other day and he made it through it. You know, so he's doing fine. But how many weeks is it going to take? I don't know that. And then the doctors aren't telling us either. So I think a lot's going to have to do with him. And if you're going to bank on him, he's going to make it back in a hurry because he's really tough and he's very demanding of himself. So we'll see how it goes. But we're going to be hopeful, you know, for that to happen.
What about Trey Brown in that same regard for the opener?
He's not going to make it for the opener.
Deshaun Shed being on staff for you all, how much can you help you guys being a player on that team, kind of show that championship mentality and all that?
Yeah, he has been a big factor for us. It's one of the reasons that that I want him to come back because Shed did everything you could ever do forever to make himself as good as possible. Special teams, playing corner, playing safety, didn't matter. He'd been a marvelous competitor, and so I mean, he's in the middle of a little bit of everything, you know, because he does have a good voice, and he's not that far removed, and so he's a very unique coach on our staff.
What exactly happened to Cody Thompson's shoulder? Was it shoulder, right?
Yeah. It got knocked out the back a little bit, and so I'm not sure what's happened on the surgery when it comes. What they're going to try to do, but it's a legit shoulder. It's a legit shoulder. It's going to take him a while. Yeah, but it did come back in, but then it went out again. It was really the same. They thought he was okay. He had done it before, and so he knew what he was doing. But it still wasn't stable enough.
With how this has gone.
See, this is about the timing. This is about when you come in, right about now. That's right. It's kind of lay low, kind of hang, you know. Look for your.
With how this has gone and Drew getting sick last week.
Did anybody ask about D. Eskridge?
I just shut him down. He was about to.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. Okay. Sorry.
Go ahead.
We had nothing but time.
With how it went last week with Drew Lock getting sick, and is it possible that the guy who starts the opener is not your starting quarterback for the bulk of the season?
I don't know that. Really, think about it. That's a good question. It's a good question because you're trying to figure it out. But I don't know that. I'm going to wait and see what happens, you know. And I mean, today's a really big day for me, you know. Find out what they look like today. The guy's coming back from COVID. He made it back yesterday, 2 days ago, did fine. Made it through everything, all the walkthrough stuff yesterday, did fine. Let's see how he goes today, and we'll see where it fits. But I'm not closing, I'm not closing the book on anybody competing for their spots. We have 2 enormous weeks coming up, and the finish of this one next week is a huge week for us, and then we come back with another full week and an extra day, you know. So we got a lot of time here to work it out on my schedule. Maybe you're not feeling that schedule, but my schedule, I'm okay.
The reason I ask you that, some regimes, the quarterback is the one place you want to be set, and that you stay consistent there. But you're saying not necessarily, and that's a competition.
Well, I'm saying that we weren't afforded that opportunity this time around. I can go ahead and just call it, but I want to let the guys battle and let them show where they are, and let us get as much information as possible. Gino's done a really good job of being in that position. His voice is solid. He's on point all the time. He's been very consistent with his work, all of that. And Drew has been really sharp. So it's. I know it's not supposed to be a good situation when you have 2 quarterbacks. It means you don't have one, as the old saying, But I don't know. We might have 2 ones. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, the formula you have for winning games, run the ball, defense, special teams, explosive in the passing game. Where did that originate? Is that like a Bud Grant thing? How far back does that go?
It's interesting you should bring that up. It's a good question. That's an acquired, philosophy in a sense, but acquired from others. I don't think you probably don't connect this. I think I've said this before, but when the Green Bay Packers were winning, and Vince Lombardi had that team going, and you go back and look at the makeup of that team and how they played with defense and with running the football, they always were smart, always good, and the quarterback was the guy that was in the middle of it all. Bart Starr, he was never, I don't think he ever was the most productive quarterback during his days. He was the guy that made it all work, and I'm talking all the way back to Carson and Matt and Booty and all those guys, Barkley, all those guys that we played with, Sanchez. It was the same expectation that they are in the middle of the offense, and to have that thought to make the job easier for the quarterback because he has the hardest job. All of the rest of it has to fit well. If when we were really at our very most productive days, if you looked at what was the score they used to keep on all, and they keep scoring everything that you do. I can't remember what it is. We haven't talked about it much lately, but that means penalties. It's talking about how you punt the football, field position, all of those things. All of those things work together if it all fits and matches up, and so that's just basic football principles. You can do it throwing the ball too, if you can keep it out of their hands and you can continue to move it. Running the football is part of the makeup of the whole thing. Is a big deal to it because it's clock, it's all those things, and it's everything fitting together. And there's a lot of dimensions to that, and there's a lot of aspects of that to be committed to get it right. And I just love the whole thought of it when you're functioning, you're hitting it. Matter of fact, we have a really cool illustration in celebration this year with the Miami Dolphins. You go back to the 72 when it was 50 years ago. This is the 50-year celebration, and look at the makeup of that team. That team ran the ball for, 3,000 yards or whatever the heck it was. They had 3 runners that ran the football. They had the top defense in the NFL. They were the top turnover producing team in the NFL. They were great on teams. And Earl Morrall was their quarterback after Greasy got hurt after 5 or 6 games. And he was 36 years old at the time. And he was in the middle of all of that. And Coach Shula put together a phenomenal team that was perfect. So there's that mentality. I know it may sound like it was in the past, and it only fit then. The game is the game. If you take care of the football and you take it off your opponents and you don't give them nothing and you just keep making it hard for them, play after play, situation after situation, it's hard to lose. And so that's how we've learned it over the years and believed in it. And you want to be hard to beat, and that's what that's all about.
As passing has become
That's a good long answer.
As passing has become like the kind of trendier thing as the game has become modernized, has it been important for you to reinforce kind of everything you just said there?
We want to throw the hell out of the ball. We want to be the most explosive passing team in the NFL. And look how much we threw the ball in the last 5 or 6, 7 years. Even after when we started to make a rise, we just grew with it and fit it together. If you're taking care of the football, you can throw the football all you want. If you're protecting and you're not getting sacked, you're not giving the ball up, you're not throwing interceptions, you can throw the ball as much as you want. It's the same result. You don't have to run the ball to do that. There's some challenges to that, though. The ball's in the air, you're sitting back there, and the quarterback getting pounded and stuff like that. You have to be careful with all that. So,
what have you thought of what Doug Baldwin's doing in his post-NFL career? He's the CEO of a tech company down the road.
Yeah, well, first off, I'm really excited about the technology behind what he's doing and how he's helping people get well and all of that. It's just a great thought, but yet he's been recognized by the people who put that company together that he could be a great leader for them. There is no doubt. There's no doubt. He's got all of those qualities. He's got a way about him. He's bright, clear, aggressive when he needs to be. He's tough. But I can see why somebody would want him to be their leader. And so anyway, so I've been really excited about it. I don't know all about the technology, but I do. What's the name of the company? What is it? Ventric, yeah. Let's give them a little plug. Yeah, Ventric's a company that helps people find their way back from being sick, and they do a marvelous job from the technology standpoint as well to make sure that they can make sense to their people and be really successful. So I love that he's doing that, and I love that I see Sherm's doing something to get on the air, and these guys are doing some big things that they're worthy of, and deserve and all that. So it's really exciting.
Is Abe Lucas
Ventric.
Is Abe Lucas okay? It didn't seem like he was here yesterday. Abe Lucas, or was he around this?
He had a thing family thing.
Hey, if you're saying the quarterback is a facilitator and a point guard, is there because you follow basketball, point guard you can say is, hazard in terms of what you need for that?
Let's go way back. Let's go just because Bill Russell's not playing. Yeah, but look at the championships they had. And Bill Russell was a champion wherever he was, and he was the primary dominant factor in all of that. But he would be the first to tell you about how important Cousy was to that team. That's a classic, you know, recollection for guys that have been around and all that. But they come in all sizes and shapes too, you know, just as our guys did. You know, some guys were the big throwers, some guys weren't, you know, and Russ was a unique player here in this offense, different than the guys we had in years past, you know, that we were successful with. But it all comes down to those guys being, you know, at the focal point, center point, and when the time came, they made more good decisions to utilize the people around them. And that's what, you know, that's what we're trying to get done.
I do have a DS critic.
Good. Yeah, we should. Come on, I want to talk about him. We haven't had a chance to talk about him for a long time.
How did he respond to the work he got a couple days
Well,
ago?
well, he's practicing today. I'm really excited about if he can make it from the next day. The next day we can put these days together that he has a chance to play this weekend, which is huge. It's a huge opportunity for us to get him out there. And to get him out there, and then we come back to work for a couple of weeks after that. I'm really glad you asked, because I can't. I'll spill that one out. So, and he looked good yesterday, or 2 days ago too. So he's on the move to get back out there.
How's Goodwin doing?
He's making progress, but he's not going to make it for this weekend. Hamstrings and ankles again. Let's just ask about Ryan Neal. His ankle's coming along really well. He's not quite ready yet, though.
Where Artie Burr? Where's he right?
Artie's playing. Yeah, and let me go. Slow down. Come on, I'm too excited about that one. If he makes it through the days, okay, he's got to go, you know, big day to day, and then come on back and put his days together. Very much like Eskridge, you know. If he makes it through the week and all that, we're going to try to get him out there.
Thank you, everyone.
I even told you guys something.